Every Star Wars story ends the same way. Not with celebration, but with silence. A moment of peace that never lasts. A promise the galaxy can't keep. Because in this universe, victory is just failure, waiting for its sequel. The Jedi win the Clone Wars, then vanish. The rebels destroy the Death Star, then rebuild the same government that failed before. Luke redeems his father, only to lose his own students. And Rey defeats Palpatine, only to bury the same weapons that doomed everyone else. It's almost funny, really. For a saga built on hope, Star Wars has a perfect record of disappointment. Every time someone says balance, it just means another imbalance is loading. Every happy ending has a timer ticking underneath it. But maybe that's what makes it great. Because failure in Star Wars isn't punishment, it's progress. Every collapse clears the stage for someone new to rise. The galaxy never stops breaking, and that's what keeps it alive. It's not a fairy tale where good wins forever. It's a myth that admits good has to keep winning, over and over, against itself. And somehow that's more inspiring than perfection ever could be. In this video, we're exploring how every Star Wars story, from the prequels to the sequels, ends in tragedy, loss, or decay. And why that endless pattern of failure is exactly what gives the galaxy its soul. Star Wars loves to celebrate its victories, but they never last. Every time the galaxy cheers, the camera fades out before the next disaster begins. The Jedi win the Clone Wars, kind of, and then immediately get wiped out by the clones they commanded. The rebels blow up the Death Star, only to realize the Empire had another one ready to go. It's like the galaxy's curse to hit repeat every 20 years. Anakin's entire life is one giant illusion of victory. He's hailed as the chosen one, the one who will bring balance to the Force. But every step he takes toward that prophecy just drags him further into darkness. He saves the Chancellor and loses his mother. He saves Padme in his dreams but kills her in reality. Anakin doesn't destroy the Sith by conquering them, he becomes them. It's victory written in invisible ink. Even Luke's triumph at the end of Return of the Jedi feels like a trick the Force played on him. He redeems his father, defeats the Emperor, restores hope, and then 30 years later his new Jedi temple burns to the ground. That's not failure in a cinematic sense. It's the natural consequence of believing peace can last in a galaxy that refuses to stay balanced. The Rebels' win is the same story. They destroy tyranny only to rebuild it under new colours. The Republic they fought so hard to restore collapses into gridlock, corruption, and neglect. The First Order doesn't emerge from nowhere. It's the child of victory left unsupervised. The happily ever after moments in Star Wars are always set up for the next heartbreak. The prequels do the same thing, but in reverse. They start with a golden age and end in ruin. The Jedi think they're winning, securing alliances, defending the Republic, maintaining order, but they're just puppets in a war orchestrated by the enemy sitting in their own Senate. It's the most elegant self-destruction ever filmed. Even individual moments of triumph feel bittersweet when you look closer. Qui-Gon defeats Darth Maul, only to die seconds later. Obi-Wan strikes down Grievous and immediately watches democracy crumble. Every time someone wins, the universe cashes it in for tragedy. It's not cynicism. It's Star Wars showing that power always carries decay. And then there's Rey, the girl who finally restores balance by defeating Palpatine. Again, only to stand alone in the desert of Tatooine, burying the lightsabers of everyone who failed before her. It's poetic, but also hollow. Because nothing about that final moment feels resolved. It feels paused, like the galaxy is waiting to break again. Every Star Wars story ends with a sense of accomplishment wrapped in loss. That's what makes it feel real. You can blow up planets, kill emperors, and redeem fallen heroes, but you can't escape consequences. Victory in Star Wars is always temporary, because the galaxy never learns. And that's the trick Lucas pulled off better than anyone. He built a franchise where failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the proof that success existed at all. Failure isn't just part of Star Wars, it's the backbone of it. Every character we love defines themselves by what they lose, not what they win. The Jedi lose their order. The Sith lose their power. and the galaxy loses its innocence again and again. If you took failure out of Star Wars, there wouldn't be anything left but lights and noise. The prequels are the clearest example. The Jedi believe they're wise and noble, but every decision they make brings them closer to destruction. They reject emotion, so they fail to understand Anakin. They reject attachment, so they lose compassion. They reject foresight, so they get blindsided by the one guy who literally announces his evil plan in front of them. Their failure isn't a twist, it's a slow-motion car crash with robes. The Sith fail in their own way too. They chase immortality and domination, but can't hold on to either. Palpatine gains absolute power only to be thrown down a reactor shaft by the same apprentice he thought he controlled. Maul spends his life obsessed with revenge and dies begging Kenobi for closure. Even Dooku, who thinks he's playing both sides, gets decapitated the moment he's outlived his usefulness. It's poetic justice on a galactic scale. Luke's story flips that pattern, but keeps the theme. He saves his father, but loses his idealism. He becomes the last Jedi, then realizes maybe the Jedi shouldn't exist at all. His journey in The Last Jedi isn't about failure being bad, it's about failure being the only teacher that sticks. It's the first time Star Wars admits that winning might actually be the problem. The rebels fail too, just in slower motion. They topple the Empire but can't manage peace. Their new government collapses under its own ego, leaving a power vacuum for the next generation of tyrants. They didn't lose the war, they lost the aftermath. That's what makes Star Wars feel endless. Every victory creates the seed of its next defeat. Even smaller characters embody this. Finn breaks free from the First Order, only to realize freedom doesn't automatically give you purpose. Poe learns that heroism without humility just leads to chaos. Ahsoka leaves the Jedi to find truth, but she still ends up fighting wars that never end. In Star Wars, even growth comes with scars. It's frustrating, but it's also the point. Star Wars isn't a story about perfection. It's a story about persistence. It's not about who wins the fight, it's about who learns from losing it. And ironically, the ones who refuse to learn, the Jedi, the Sith, the Republic, are the ones doomed to repeat their failures forever. That's why the Force never really takes sides. It doesn't care who wins, it cares who grows. The light and dark don't compete. They balance through failure. Every collapse resets the board, forcing the galaxy to evolve. It's not punishment, it's maintenance. The more you look at it, the more Star Wars feels like a meditation on impermanence. Nothing lasts, and that's okay. Because if everything stayed fixed, there'd be no room for redemption, or for new stories to begin. There's something strangely comforting about how Star Wars ends in ruin. Because in that ruin, there's honesty. The galaxy doesn't stay perfect because people don't. Hope doesn't last because it's not supposed to. It's meant to be rebuilt. That's why every ending in Star Wars feels both sad and sacred at the same time. Take Rogue One. Every main character dies, but their sacrifice lights the spark that saves the galaxy. That's not defeat, it's transformation. They fail in the literal sense, but they succeed in legacy. That's what Star Wars really celebrates. Not survival, but significance. Or look at The Empire Strikes Back. It's the most beloved film in the saga, and it ends in pure despair. Han's frozen, Luke's broken, the heroes are scattered. And yet, audiences love it because it feels true. We know life works that way. You fall before you rise. You lose, before you understand what's worth winning for. Even The Last Jedi, for all its controversy, captures that beautifully. Luke's final act isn't to destroy the enemy, it's to stall them, to buy time, to give hope to the next generation. He dies not as a warrior, but as a myth reborn. His failure to save Ben becomes the reason Rey learns to save herself. That's not tragedy, it's grace disguised as loss. Yoda once said, "The greatest teacher failure is." And it wasn't just a line, it was the moral spine of the entire franchise. From Qui-Gon's death to Vader's redemption, from the fall of the Republic to the rise of the rebellion, it's all one giant lesson in humility. The galaxy isn't broken, it's learning. And that's why Rey's ending, as hollow as it feels, still matters. She doesn't fix the galaxy, but she honours the people who tried. She buries the past, not because it's over, but because it's part of the soil that new hope grows from. It's not closure, it's continuation. Star Wars doesn't want you to believe in happy endings. It wants you to believe in meaningful ones. It's not about everything working out. It's about everything being worth it, even when it falls apart. That's the quiet beauty of failure. It reminds you that the fight mattered. If you look at the saga as a whole, it reads less like a hero's journey and more like a cycle of understanding. Each generation fails a little differently, but they fail forward. They get closer to balance, even if they never reach it. That's what gives the Force its poetry. It's not static, it's self-correcting. So yes, every Star Wars story ends in failure, but that's the point. Because failure isn't the end of hope. It's the proof that hope still exists. It's the spark that survives every collapse. And the reason this galaxy never really dies.
Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that share button. My main channel is Critical Analysis Hub, where I post Star Wars content about the movies. My secondary channel is Critical Analysis Hub Plus, where I focus on the shows of Star Wars. And my third channel is Critical Analysis Hub XP, where I post comic books. Be sure to take a moment and check them out. Thanks, and may the Force be with you.